All right, welcome back. This week we are talking a little bit more about digital products, but more specifically, we're talking about using Etsy to sell products, both physical and digital, online. And Etsy is something that I really enjoy. I like browsing Etsy and seeing all the different things people make. I think it's a really fun platform. So I wanted to take some time to talk about how to be effective on Etsy and give you some good tips and tricks. And if you notice, I'm talking a little bit faster today. It's because I had a major technology brain fart, and I already recorded this episode with the wrong microphone, and so my audio was terrible, and I'm recording it now for the second time. So I have already just said all of these wonderful things, and I might be saying them a little bit faster. I tend to talk really fast, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you prefer that. If not, you can adjust the playback speed and hopefully listen to me slower. But sometimes I find if it's the second time through, you're more effective anyway. So maybe I'll be even better this time. Let's just go with that. So Etsy. Some people don't like Etsy because there are other platforms that you can sell on, and Etsy does take a cut of your sales. But I like Etsy because it's an established platform. There's so many people on there that just browse it like they would Instagram or Facebook, and you're getting access to all of those potential customers just by having a shop on Etsy. So if you're just starting out, it can be a really easy and simple way of just starting to make sales and figuring out what this whole digital product thing is and how to get good at it. And so I recommend it. It's free to get set up. It's free to create your shop. And then from there, you can, the sky's the limit on how much you can make. There are people on Etsy that are making a huge amount of money, but most people on Etsy are not making anything at all. And that's because I think they haven't taken the time to learn the platform and learn how to be effective at it, and they kind of give up. And so when I set up my shop and I just started making a little bit of sales, like one thing here and there, Etsy was like, you're selling 74%, or you're selling more than 74% of everybody else on Etsy. And I was like, that's really sad. That means that most people on Etsy are selling nothing, because here I'm making like $12. So it doesn't take much to be like a rock star on Etsy, but if you want to be making like significant income, then you want to take the time to learn the platform and get really good at it. So the first thing you want to consider is finding your niche. You want to set up a shop that is clear to people what the shop is about, right? So some people will sell planners, some people do like printables like for preschoolers, or homeschool resources, or art, or party type things like invitations and things you can print out for parties. There's so many different kinds of things on Etsy, but you want to make sure that you have sort of a niche. You don't want to be a totally random shop. It always makes me think of when people talk about their niche. When I was growing up in Delta, there were all these meat and video shops. And I always just would laugh at them because I'd be like, who are these people that are going to get their cut of meat and rent a video at the same time? It was such an odd combination in a store, and yet they were everywhere. So to me, that's an example of a weird niche. Like, I guess it worked for those people because they kept making these stores that were meat and video shops, but you want your shop to kind of make sense. So when people come in, they get what it's about and they go, oh, this is for me because this is exactly what I was looking for. And all her stuff appeals to me because I am her target audience, right? It should not be totally random. So consider what kind of shop it is. Who is your audience? Who's your target, and how can you serve them? You want to make products that are actually valuable to them, and you want your products to stand out. So you really want to think about, what do people actually need? What is there a market for? And how can you stand out? How can you make things that are different? So the next step is to then find other shops that are already serving this audience and making these kind of products, and research. That's how you get good at Etsy. I'm always watching videos and learning from people on Etsy who are making a lot more money, because they're obviously doing something right, which means I have more to learn. So I want to evaluate my shop and make it better and try new things. So look at the people that are doing awesome in your niche, and what are they doing? What are they selling? What are their top sellers? How are they packaging it? And what's missing? What aren't they making that maybe people need? And how can you take those ideas and put your own spin on it, make it even better? You might look at it and go, well, that's a good idea, but I would do this, and this, and I would add this, and then this would be more useful. great. That's where you're going to shine. You're going to come in there and you're going to stand out. The other thing you can do is talk to your actual audience and ask them what they need. So for example, if I was going to start a shop for homeschool moms and create resources for homeschool moms, then I'm going to go into one of these homeschool groups that I'm in, because I'm a homeschool mom, and I'm going to ask them, I'm going to say, guys, I want to create a shop that creates resources for people like us to help us. What do you need? What are you looking for? What would make things easier for you? What would help you? And what are your favorite things to find on Etsy? And really get their feedback and ask a lot of questions, because that is such valuable information. You're going directly to the source. You're asking them what they want and just give it to them, right? That's a really powerful and really simple way of doing it. So do some research up front and really get some really good ideas for how you can stand out and serve your audience and make really good products. The next thing is crafting your products. Obviously, if you're making digital products, you have to spend some time at creating them. So for templates and things like that, you can use Etsy. If you're doing spreadsheets, I know some people that will create like budgeting tools. You can use Excel or you can use Google Sheets and start making products that way. But really think about, okay, what do I need to make these products? And then spend the time to make your product look really good, well designed, test it out, make sure it works, get feedback from people. Like, how does this look if I print it out? Does it look good if I print it? What are the best ways to print it? Get all of that information so that your products are really, really good. Then you need to think about a way to deliver your products to people. How are you going to package them? And how are you going to market them? So on Etsy's platform, when you set up your shop, the first thing you want to make sure is that you fully create your profile. You need to name your shop. You need to have shop art. You can go on Canva again and type in Etsy shop and they'll give you templates, which is a really great way to get good looking shop art if you're not a graphic designer, and fully complete your profile. Make sure that you have a profile picture. It says where you're located. It has a description. It talks about the shop owner, and everything is set up fully, because that is really what's going to make your shop look professional and like it's an actual legit business. Okay. And then you want to make sure that each listing that you add to your shop is optimized. I think people just throw listings together and don't really think about how to make sure this listing is found. Because you create a listing, it doesn't mean anyone's going to see it. But those first few days that that listing exists, Etsy boosts it to test it. Etsy wants to know what people think of this listing, because if people interact with it, Etsy's going to go, that's a good listing, and it's going to automatically help you get found. But if nobody interacts with it, then you go to the bottom of the pile and no one's going to find you. Etsy's not helping that listing anymore. So you want to make sure that your listing is set up properly. Give it a good title it something relevant that is obviously relevant to what it is. If it's a homeschool planner, say it's a homeschool planner, but then also add in things that people are typing into Etsy to find that homeschool planner, right? So if it's an undated homeschool planner, if it's for 2024, it should say undated homeschool planner 2024. Right? Because somebody looking for that is going to type that into Etsy. Also consider things to do with its aesthetics. If it's pink, if it's blue, if it's a certain style, you want to put that in. If it's a printable, if it's digital, if it's meant for a certain program, if it's meant for a certain app, then you have to include that as well in the title, because that's going to help you get found. Your product description should be as long as you possibly could make it, as many details, write out all the features of this product, how it can be used, why it's awesome, really go to town. Use ChatGPT. You can set up a free account in ChatGPT and just copy and paste your product description into ChatGPT and just say, can you make my Etsy product description better? And it will spit it back out and it will look 10 times better. So that's a really useful little tip. You can also have up to 10 photos on your listing. As many photos as possible. If you can hit 10, that is ideal. You want to use 10 on your listing. Listings with more photos get more sales. And that's just the bottom line. So make different images on Canva. You can use like social media graphics on Canva, like those templates that they provide. And if it's a workbook or an ebook, show the front cover, show the inside, create a video even. You can add a video to your listing that flips through it so they can see every part of it and list all the features. You will get this file in this many formats, and you can print it or use it in this program, and this is my guarantee that you get this, this, and this. You want to make sure it's very clear that they are going to get what they're getting so that they know. If people don't know what they're getting for their money, they're not going to spend their money. So really use those images to show them how awesome your product is and make it eye-catching so that it stands out and they start flipping through, reading your product description. That's very important. Further down in your listing, you can add attributes, which are things like the color, the specifications, the size, the style, all of those things for your image. Add as many of those as possible because that makes your listing more findable, and that's really important. And then you can have up to 13 tags on your listing. You don't want to use one-word tags on your listing. You want to use at least 2 or more. Each tag can only be 20 characters, so you have to be creative, and you need to use all 13. Okay, do not have less than 13 tags. The tags are how you get found. And so you want to use what's called long tail keywords. And the best way to find long tail keywords is to go to Etsy and just start searching for your product. So if you're making a homeschool planner, type in homeschool planner into the search bar and a bunch of other things will drop down and they'll show you the most common searches. And you want to use that information to add relevant long tail keywords to your listing. So like homeschool planner, printable homeschool planner for moms, digital homeschool planners, like all of those things. Those are the kind of tags you might want to put on your listing. And you can also go to shops and listings that are doing really well that are selling the same kind of thing and look at some of the wording that they're using in their descriptions, in their title, and really do the research to make sure that you have the best keywords on there. And then when you add your listings to your shop, make sure that when you're getting started, you have a decent amount of listings right off the bat. So maybe create a bunch of stuff and then start adding your listings so they're all up there. Your shop looks a lot better if it has more than one thing. And you can divide them into categories, which makes your shop more searchable. So if you have, printable worksheets and then homeschool planners and then whatever, you divide everything into categories and it'll list those categories on the side of your shop so that people can then browse and go, oh, I want to see all the rest of her homeschool planners. So then they'll go to that section and it'll list all of them. So those are the kinds of things you want to factor in when you're setting up your listings, and then you really want to do the research. Okay, so this is where you're going to come back every day after your listings are posted and look at your stats on your shop manager. What's doing well? What's getting the most views? What's being added to people's favorites? What's selling? Whatever's doing well, make more listings like that. Look at where your traffic's coming from. Etsy will show you if traffic is coming from specific websites, if it's coming from ads, if it's coming from social media, which social media platforms, and learn, right? Okay, most of my stuff's coming from Google. How can I optimize that? Most of my stuff's coming from Pinterest. How can I optimize that? Create a pin on Pinterest for every listing. At least one. So you can go into Canva and type in Pinterest and it'll give you a template and you can create pins that link directly to your shop. Best homeschool planners for moms 2024. Best digital homeschool planners. And just create like images like that and people will go, oh yeah, I want to know the best homeschool planners. That's what I'm looking for. And then they're going to be taken to your shop, right? So use those kinds of things to market your shop, to drive traffic in, and then just be watching your stats regularly to improve. You can also use things like Marmalade and eRank. eRank gives you a free account. Marmalade's paid. They're both really powerful tools, and they will grade your listings and tell you which of your listings are doing well, which of your listings need improvement, and how. And they'll help you do keyword research to give you the best keywords so you know which keywords are performing well, and you can start improving your shop on a daily basis. And that's really how you're going to become one of those rockstar shops that sells really, really well on Etsy. So keep all of those things in mind and just be learning. I really recommend that you try it. If you want to check out my shop, you can go to Pamela's on Designs on Etsy and give it a look. Or you can find me on my website. It links to my shop as well as pamelazon.com. If you have any questions about setting up a template shop, give me a holler at hello@pamelazon.com. And just make sure that you're going to be the kind of shop that is really loyal to your customers and answering every question that comes in, every email you get, responding to every testimonial, every review. Serve your people and they will respond. And that's really the thing, is you create a shop that serves, you create a shop that creates products that are actually helping people, and then you're working with your audience to make things better and to make their experience better, then you're going to have an amazing Etsy shop. All right, so that's it for me this week, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I'll see you next time.